Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this morning. My name is Barclay Hagan. I am the Director of Client Care for OnPoint, and our webinar this morning is Transforming Your Business with Spectrum Business Intelligence, and we have Mike Pazynski here to present for us. Also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to put those in the questions panel in your control panel, and Mike will have some time at the end to answer those. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mike.
Okay, so the title here, transforming your business. This is continues to take on more and more meaning as companies are coming out of a potential downturn. Some of them, it's the opposite. They're figuring out how to survive growth and actually leverage it. But transforming here is what we were before the pandemic is not what we're going to be coming out of it. And so many of our clients are looking at real potential opportunity now through market growth or other revenue streams. And so what this is about is, it's not about reports. It's not about a data dump where you have to go find what you're looking for and have some action. That's not what business intelligence or data analytics is. Those terms, and they're different, but they refer to constant awareness of meaningful information to help your company grow. And that's much more than a report that's put on a data dump that's put on your paper. And we're going to talk about that as we go. So the objectives for today, we're going to create a BI report, and then we're going to create a dashboard. But speaking a little more about business analytics, we talk to so many clients of ours and potential clients where one of their key problems to solve is to empower their managers, their key decision makers, to make decisions based on good information without having to wait for a report, or when they need different information based on what's happening, empowering them to be able to generate that themselves, look at meaningful, clear, concise data, and move on down the road. That's really what this is all about. For us, you and I, it's about being part of successful growth by providing that relevant information as things change. And that's the key here, is that as companies change and strategies change and market opportunities change, what's needed today will not be what's needed tomorrow. So that's what business analytics is all about, is keeping an open eye and being able to quickly provide meaningful information so that decisions can be made. That's not designing a report, is it? Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to jump into the software here as I figure out how to navigate PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm in Spectrum. I'm in CCD. Let me make this a little bit larger. I'm in the CCD sample data, which everyone has or had when Spectrum was installed. And let's come up with a scenario. Let's come up with a simple one, right? To start anyway. Let's say that PMs need to quickly know what they have left to spend on a project, regardless of the industry you're in and the market segment you're in. That's a common theme. What do I have left to spend? So to do that, to generate that report in Spectrum Business Intelligence, I'll go to a sitemap here in CCD, and I'll pop open Business Intelligence, all right? And I'm going to create an analysis report. Now, behind the scenes, BI, Business Intelligence, has been set up. Security has been set up. All of that has already been done. What we're doing is diving into an analysis report. So I'm going to pick, based on what we want to do, something called the project management job financials. And before I hit OK, this auto refresh report, that's a double-edged sword. As we're adding fields and making changes, the report can auto refresh, and that can be a nice thing, right? What you see is what you get. However, if you've got a large amount of data and you really don't want it to auto refresh, it just takes too much time between adding fields, you might not want to select that. Okay, so we're on project management, job financials, and I'll hit OK. When we come to the analysis report user interface, we've really got 4 areas we're thinking about. One is the available fields that we can pull onto the design. Next is the fields that have been chosen. And then the actual pane itself, the design pane. And then we talk to clients, save and save often, okay? You want to save this. And if you want to take one and copy it and modify it, you can save as. And there is an undo button. So we've got an undo button. All right. And then as we go across, we can hide, if we want more real estate, we can hide available fields. We can hide the layout pane. We can look at our conditions, so on and so on. And over to the right is viewing it, is our buttons to view it as like a report format versus in graph format. So four sections, burn that into memory. So in ours, the first thing I'll generally do is I'll condition it for the 3-company character code that I'm reporting on. So in this case, under job, I'm going to hit the pull down on company code and go to filter. And I only want to see CCD. Okay. I'll hit OK. And then just keeping this very, very simple. Let's say that the first thing we want to grab is the job. So here under the job section, I'm going to grab the job code. All right, now there are my job codes for what's in CCD. And then if I want to see the job description, I'll right-click that and then also show company cost centers, cost groups. Where's my job code? My job description, rather. Here we go, under properties, job description. Okay, so I've added my job code and I've added my job description. And to be clear on that, I added job description by going to properties. Okay. Notice also the other fields that are available here. Some very important fields. Start dates, end dates, price type. Okay. Now, next, if we're going to do left to spend, I probably want either my estimate or my projection, depending on whether or not we're doing projections. But I want to start with my quote unquote budget. So over on the left-hand side here, under available fields, are the data pieces in the cube that have been added. And notice that I've got estimate, and I've also got projected. And that'll just depend on how you all process in Spectrum. If you do projections, you'll want to grab the projected cost. That's a forward-looking thing. The estimate is your estimate that came in when you created a job plus change orders. Let's just say we go with estimate for fun. If I hover over estimated cost, notice that this is the net change to estimated cost for the month. You've got to hover over these fields to really see what they are. And then it's telling us that the estimates, that number changes with change orders and change requests with cost revisions. In other words, action types 1, 2, and 3. If you're not familiar with what that's meaning, yeah, please let us know. We can help you out with that. Anyway, I'm going to go to estimate cost to date. That's what I want. That's the job to date estimate plus changes. So I'm going to left click and just drag that puppy over. And you'll see it's auto refreshing now as I go. All right. Now I want to say, well, what have we spent? So that's going to be cost to date. Again, if I hovered over that, it's the job to date cost. I'm going to left click and drag him over. So we've got the job description, our budget, and what we spent. And if I want to, I can right click that and I can simply call that revised budget. If that's the terminology that we use at our company, not a problem, change it. All right, and I did that by right clicking and then column name and format. Anyway, what we want now, we want a calculation then. We want the budget minus what we've spent for cost to date. For left to spend. So I'm going to right click on cost to date, and I'm going to add what we call a user defined measure. We're going to calculate that little guy, and we'll call him left to spend. Okay. Now, the formula syntax is trying to help us. It's got the field that we most recently added. However, I'm going to click in front of him and add some space, right? And what I prefer to do, and this is very important when you start getting into complex calculations, we've got formula syntax conventions. For instance, I'm going to have an open bracket, cost to date. Whoops, and underneath that open bracket, I want to start with my budget. Now, BI is trying to help us. It's telling us the fields we've already used at the top, and then the other available fields under that. So I'm saying, well, thank you. I'm going to add revised budget or estimate to date. I'm going to add a space, and I could either type the minus sign or click it right down here. And then I'll put a close bracket. Now, are the open and the close, are they required? Absolutely not. Does it make it easier if you start using this in more of a stacked formula where there are multiple pieces to it? Absolutely. This will save your butt. It'll save you with queuing it now and with modifying it and understanding what's in it later. It just simplifies it. All right, so I'm going to hit OK. And then left to spend is there. So this is taken on what I would call a report look and feel, isn't it? And okay, it's got value. A PM could look down that person's jobs and look to see what's to spend. But I tell you what, the CFO in me comes out quickly. I want to see where we're over, all right? And I don't want to have to look at every row. I want a quick visual. And this is where business analytics really starts taking form. What's important to us today? How can we quickly get this information to whomever's looking for it? Now, this isn't necessarily about strategies or business decisions. This is just for efficiency. But in this case, I'm going to hit the pull down here, and I'm going to say that I simply want a bar chart. So notice that it quickly then flips over to a chart format. And if I hover over, the dark blue is our budget, the light blue is our cost, and then the red is what's left to spend. And I quickly see where I've got exposure, where it's a negative left to spend, it's extending out. And then if I'm the CFO, I can or the money person or the PM, I could quickly see where we've got a lot left to spend, where we're upside down, all right? And I can get to my data instantly like this, okay? Now, incidentally, let's just say that I'm in ES 1910. I want to know what's going on here, okay? What you can do is where are you? Oh, I've got to get this on a dashboard before I can do that. Forgive me. I'll come back to that. I'm going to save him first. We're going to call him. Hello. We're going to save this as an OnPoint advisory group left to. Okay. And I'm going to put him here in my folder. And this is very important as you may have different people developing different reports and different dashboards. You'll want to decide on what your folder structure is. And all of this was decided, again, hypothetically, before I ever started the report. What OnPoint advisory group left to spend. I'm going to save. And now I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Okay. Now I want to make a dashboard for quick and easy viewing. To do a dashboard, I'll hit on report administration. I'm in BI, report administration. And I'm going to say, I'm going to create a new dashboard. Now, burn into memory because it doesn't force us to do this, and you can kind of run around in circles. You're speaking to one who's done that if you don't do this first. First, pick your template down here at the bottom. So that was kind of a long presentation of data. I'm going to have the nice vertical length one here and then anticipate a couple shorter ones. So I'm going to pick template template 1 and 2 here. Then I'm going to click on themes and I'll pick the color theme. And then I'll click on properties. And let's just call this job dashboard. OnPoint Advisory Group job dashboard. And I'm doing that OAG so I can keep things together. And I'm going to say I want to refresh this every 30 seconds. Okay. Now, to add my reports to the pane over on the left, I know that I saved that on OnPoint Mike. So I'm going to double click him. And then wait patiently. This is my bandwidth, by the way, not anything else that's going on. But what will happen then is when he dives in and looks at the files that are saved under OnPoint Mike, I will then grab the file that I want, the OAG left to spend, and put it here. Is this behaving differently now? Forgive me, it's not drilling down, forgive me. I highlight OnPoint Mike, it shows us what's in here. OAG left to spend, forgive me on that. Highlight the folder you want to be in, OAG left to spend, and I'll simply just drag him over. So there's my report on my dashboard. Okay. I'm going to tell it that I want it back in table format. Okay. And I'll go ahead and let's see. If I was to do this again, I would remove the decimals, I think, to make it more visible. Okay. Come back to me here. Down here with Untitled 1 highlighted, I'm going to change that title to left to spend and tell it refresh every 30 seconds. And I'll apply those changes. Apply everything I've done. I think I'm going to have to go back to my report to change that layout. But then this then becomes your dashboard. All right. Now, just like on the report, I need to save this guy, and we'll call it OnPoint Advisory Group dashboard. And I'll go ahead and I'll close him out. And then where this becomes useful is when I want to save that as a favorite, I can go to Business Intelligence, My Reports, and I'm going to the OnPoint Advisory Group. I've got something going on with my bandwidth. OnPoint Advisory Group dashboard is not here. He didn't save. Again, that's my bandwidth. I'm just going to go to left to spend here. I can verify that's what I want. And then whether it's the dashboard or the report, I can then hit the star and put him on my favorites. Then when I launch Spectrum, I can simply pop back in there and have constant awareness. I can have that as a tab that's open for myself and keep an eye. So we've designed a report. We designed a dashboard. It just didn't save for me because of my bandwidth. And then we looked at how to put them on your favorites so that you can pop them open when you're actually in Spectrum. What I wanted to show you, I'm going to go over to a dashboard that I've got developed here. what I wanted to show you is this is a one I already had, gross profit by job, by department, left to spend, and then a WIP report. If you're looking at a report or on your dashboard, for instance, and let's say that you're looking at GC 1901 here, and you just, something doesn't look right, you want to get more information, you can right click on him and you can actually go to the job analysis or go to a job cost history view. So if you want more information, you can right click job analysis and boom, you're in there, and then with access to virtually anything you want to know about that job. So that's a pretty powerful little tool. I wish it were more visible or more prominent, I guess, as to that being available. If you had a report on vendors and you right click, you can then go to vendor history or other areas of the vendor financial. So it's designed to take you to the next steps very, very easily if you're researching. Okay, so let's pop back over to the PowerPoint. We designed the report, we did the dashboard, and just very, very important about advising key decision makers with data analytics. What that takes and is when I was a CFO, it takes inserting yourself in manager meetings and inserting yourself in job meetings and listening, just listening for what people are thinking about and what they care about and what they wake up worrying about. That's what then helps you to determine, well, what kind of BI or data analytics do I need to develop to help them get answers to those questions so they can manage to them. And that's an ongoing process. It takes us out of the accounting system role and into a forward-thinking, solving problems and helping the company grow role. It's a beautiful thing. I've been there, and it's a fun thing. All right, Barclay, I'll bring up this last slide and hand it over to you.
Okay. Last call for questions. It doesn't look like we have any at this time, but we want to thank you all for being here. And as always, we appreciate your feedback. Please let us know if there are any topics you'd like to see us cover. And a link to the session will be sent to you. And of course, visit our website for any additional resources, including our procedure guides and all of our recorded webinars. Also, we would love for you to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of our upcoming events as well as view past events. And with that, everybody have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Barclay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.